So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Now, beginning with the price point between both of these, the price is actually going to be discounted on the iPhone 16 Pro. However, keep in mind some of the storage tiers, you actually might be able to copy yourself an iPhone 17 for a little bit less money than a 16 Pro if it's a higher storage option. But that's usually going to be the base storage, which is actually still pretty good for the 17. You're looking at about 256 gigs. So the 17 usually though right now going to cost you a little bit more, but it's not a lot. It's pretty close. But the 16 Pro, I think if you're looking for its more base storage tiers, you will be able to find this cheaper and discounted because it is the previous year phone. So you're going to be probably spending a little bit more on the 17. Let's just keep that in mind, especially if you start up in the storage. Now, let's talk about performance here. Which one is going to be the better pick? And you'll probably be wasting money on it. This is your primary focus. Now, the performance over the past 4 months, I found to be virtually indistinguishable between both of them. And that's something that's kind of weird and feels kind of weird to say because the base models always had 60 hertz. But with this 90 or with this 120 hertz, actually, it went up past 90. This phone with the ProMotion literally feels like I'm using the same exact phone on the front with just a different material around the edges. So definitely 17 basically is a Pro phone in a base model's clothing. That's kind of how it feels to me with this device right here. There's virtually no difference in the real world. And we do actually have a higher clock speed A19 chip in here than the 4.04 gigahertz A18 Pro. There's also the same exact RAM, so of course it's going to feel like nearly the same thing when reloading applications and stuff like that. But if we're looking for the long haul, I think the better option is the 17 because it has the A19 chip. You're probably going to get an extra year of support, which would mean if this is your primary category that you care about the most, you might be wasting your money getting the 16 Pro. If you're looking for a long haul performance, the iPhone 17, the newer chip, should give you maybe 1 year more of support. So if that's your primary objective, I would go with the iPhone 17. Now, if we are looking at the area of battery life, I say after owning the 17, it definitely, the experience of this phone, I can tell you, it has a bigger battery. So when it comes to the battery, when it comes to this phone right here, the real deal with this phone that it has is it's a bigger battery. So it definitely lasts a little bit longer. And while it's not substantial, the iPhone 16 Pro can still get through a day. I think if what you're looking for is better battery life, the iPhone 17 is going to be the option for you. This one, they both have low power modes, but then they turn off the ProMotion. But seriously, the iPhone 16 Pro is about an hour, about 45 minutes to an hour less in my experience. Not substantial, but it's something nonetheless, especially when you're considering which one is worth my money more. I do like the look of the 16 Pro, the titanium build, the triple camera, the more premium status feel of it. But if you're looking for a functional battery life, this one is a bit better than that one over there. So definitely, if that's your primary category, you probably would be wasting it going with the iPhone 16 Pro over the 17. Now, display quality actually still goes to the newer phone as well. What they did was they increased the brightness specifically to 3000 nits. Now, all that means in regular terms is outdoors, when that sun is hitting your phone, you're definitely going to crank up a little bit higher on the iPhone 17. Now, over here on the 16 Pro, it's also extremely bright 2000 nits. Now, these are not that substantial if you're not comparing them side by side. So I do think that most people won't care. But if you like a better display, actually the 17 is a little bit of a better display. It also is a little bit strange to me because when I'm using this, I'd be feeling like I'm using the iPhone 16 Pro because if you look at the edges, we do have ourselves incredibly thin bezels, which are exactly the same. So it's like they pulled the display off of the 16 Pro, put it on the 17, but made it brighter. So definitely, I gotta state that the 17 is the one I would pick if display was my main objective here. Really, I mean, why would you pay the same money and then get a weaker display brightness? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make logical sense. So I'm going with the 17 on the display, especially since they went to 6.3. That was a good decision. Now, when it comes to cameras, this one's a tie because it really depends on which one you value more, bro. So like if you go with the Pro, you would be wasting money on this phone if you wanted a better selfie camera. So over here, it's not quite as close to the, or it's a little bit closer to the face, doesn't go quite as wide. And if you do a lot of selfies, or you do front selfie video, you're doing creations and you need that front camera to be stronger, this one would be the waste actually. But over here, you'll see on this one, you'll have an substantially better front facing camera, substantially wider. But this would be the waste if this is what you want to do here. If you want to zoom, 10x is weak sauce compared to the iPhone 16 Pro. So let's go ahead and bring this over here 5 times on the optical and 25x. So this absolutely annihilates the 17 in zoom. So if zoom is where you want to put your money, this would be the better pick, and that would be the waste of money. So you really have to know which one you really care about more. When it comes to video, they're kind of similar. There's not a substantial difference between them. They both can do 4K. There is going to be a few more professional features within the iPhone 16 Pro. Specifically, if you dig into settings, let's go over here. We'll go to camera. Let's go down here. Hold on. Let's find camera. Down in here, when you go to formats, you're going to find a few more things you might not find on the iPhone 17. So you got to use this stuff. Are you an actual pro? Even if you're not, are you a person who's doing, Lightroom, and you're doing edits within Adobe, and you're doing edits within Final Cut, and you want to do different LUTs and all these extra things, and you want to tweak your RAW and all this? These type of things are like on the professional level. You're going to want the 16 Pro if this is what's in your budget, and these are the phones you're looking between. The 17 is more of an everyday camera phone for most folks. So then if that was mattering to you, this would be the waste. But I think generally I'm going to go with the 17 for most people on the camera. Reason why is I don't think most people need a substantial amount of zoom like that. I think more people need better selfie camera because they take a lot of pictures of family and friends. I also think that they're going to want the phone with the better battery life, and they can sacrifice a little bit of zoom for having the newer phone, better chip, and longer battery life. So that's how my take is on it. Now, software, I left those software updates. Now, when it comes to software, I left those software updates available for download because I wanted to show you that they're both going to be on the same exact software. You can get the same updates pretty much at the same time. So there's really no real difference between picking either of these in software. One thing to note though is that, usually the phones that were coming with the latest software tend to run it a little bit better. I noticed with iPhones, the newer phone seems to run the newer software better. I understand it's a chip thing, but they seem to be optimized specifically for 26 on the 17. So they're more efficient on here than on the iPhone 16 Pro, which was an iOS 18 phone to begin. So I got to state that, 17 is probably the one I would pick for future proofing software, and the fact that it is the newer phone running the latest software. But as time goes on, the same thing's going to happen to this. When the 18s come out, the 18s will be more optimized for the future. 27, just a little bit more efficient because they're kind of optimizing the latest phone for it. But I think if you're looking for future proof in software, mostly I go with the 17. This would probably be a waste just because you're going to get less of support, especially if you're going for long-term ownership. This is going to be the better pick on the iPhone 17. Now, one thing I want to talk about is they both have the same camera control. So you're going to get that same feature and the same action button there on the left. Volume markers are pretty much in the same locations. But everyday real world use, the iPhone 17 feels better when it comes to just regular practical use, mostly because it's lighter and smooth aluminum here. But when I say better, I mean better as in just lightweight, actual real world use. When we talk about actual feel in the hand, the 16 Pro feels more premium. It just feels like you paid more for this. And if you're into that stuff, luxury, you like luxury items, you like things that feel nice in the hand, that look nice, I think the 16 Pro is the better looking phone. It just this kind of just looks like a base 16 over here on the 17. So 16 Pro looks classy, luxurious. I would pick it if that's something that matters to you. It feels like $1 million in your hand, whereas the 17 just feels very nice. I mean, it's kind of akin to a base trim vehicle and the upper trim. Like if these were both Toyota Camrys, this would be the LE over here, really decent phone, and this would be the limited XLE or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like base trims versus top trims. That's kind of how it feels here. between these, but they both still have the same core engines, the same core features that make them great for the real world. So that's just something to keep in mind there when deciding between these two phones. Now, I gotta state that the audio is actually slightly better on the 16 Pro, so it's a little bit louder, a little bit nicer at the highs and the lows. So I do think if audio is your thing, 16 Pro is just a little bit, it's a wee bit better than the 17. It's not a deal breaking difference, but if you care a lot about listening to, through your speaker, the 16 Pro sounds just a little bit better. Now, the USB-C transfer speeds is also something you're gonna wanna go with the 16 Pro, because you'll be wasting money if you go with the 17 and you want to transfer large files. That phone has a slower transfer port than the USB-C on the iPhone 16 Pro. And that makes sense, because if you're actually a pro and you're actually transferring a lot of your 4K footage and stuff, you need the faster USB-C transfer speeds. The 16 Pro provides that. So that is something to keep in mind. How much are you transferring with a cable to your computer or to your iPad Pro? That's a very big deal. 16 Pro would actually destroy the 17 in that department. So keep that in mind. If that's not you, then the 17 is fine for you. Now, in conclusion, I want to break this down for the people who, so they know they're not wasting money on which one. Now, if you're looking for the best everyday phone with the newest technology and you want the better chip, you want the nicer kind of like newer feel to it, the 17 just feels newer. And I think it comes down to the front-facing selfie camera, the green. Obviously, this is a specific color for the 17. It just kind of has that newer feel to it. Even if it's kind of like the 16, it still just feels a little newer. They didn't have 6.3 inch on the previous 16. And it's just such a clean, nice base model phone. Now, if you're the type of person who wants better battery life, you want the better chip, and you don't want to waste money just on a zoom camera or just a feel just because it looks premium, you're going to be wasting money getting the 16 Pro. If you were trying to decide, get the 17. You're going to be extremely happy there. But you're going to be wasting money on the iPhone 17 if the 16 Pro appeals to you because of its luxurious titanium, because of its triple camera, because you like to reach with a telephoto camera onto buildings, landscapes, further things on vacation, events, oceans, landscapes. I don't care. Whatever you're zooming in far on, if you need it, the 16 Pro's got it. It doesn't have it as much as like even the newer 17 Pros, but it's so much more than the iPhone 17. It's not even close. So keeping that in mind, I think the real winners here for the Pro are people who like that premium look. They want the faster transfer speeds. They're actually doing pro level stuff with the rear cameras, and they don't mind having slightly less battery life because they still have the same screen. Basically, they don't care about slightly less brightness. It just looks better, and might even have a decent resale value as well because it is the Pro. So that's how I would decide between these. If those are the things you value, this one is an absolute waste to go with. So let me know your thoughts on these two down below. If this video helped you make a decision and that dilemma is now over for you, do me a favor. Click that like button for me down below, and also comment if you have any questions and you're still confused, because we have a thriving amount of people who will tell you and talk to you about this, and I'll try to get back to your comments as well if you're still stuck between these devices, because this has been one tight comparison. And usually the Pros always just beat the base models because of that 60 hertz, but it's changed. The landscape has changed now, and I'm actually really excited to see where the base models continue to go into the future. So you might want to be subscribed for future coverage. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.